Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring Quix in our bottom left corner, playing our red Protoss, and in the top right we have OpTiKMF, our blue Terran. I don't know if Optic is our clan name for MF, or if his name is actually OpTiKMF. I'm going to go with Optic though, just because MF, I don't know what that stands for, and I would feel bad just saying MF all day long. And we are on Cloud Kingdom. Both players are in Masters, so this is going to be a fantastic game, I'm sure. I love Cloud Kingdom. I love Cloud Kingdom really for the doodad right here and the honeycombs right here. But I also love it because this ramp is very small and this natural is very easy to take and hold. Only a one-way in, and it's on the common ground. Nice and kind of a narrow choke for a natural, smaller than normal, I think. And you have the real choke down here by the destructible debris, so that really makes the matchup more dynamic there. You can change the landscape. I'm really looking forward to Heart of the Swarm when we have those collapsible rock walls. That's going to be banging. And all sorts of different units, especially the Mothership Core. I think that's just clever. Optics is hiding an SCV probably for taking, I was going to say for building a command center up yonder once the probe gets here, but that was kind of early for that. It looks like he's building a barracks just behind the mineral patch. This is actually a really cool and clever idea. It's not a proxy rack by any stretch of the imagination. What it is kind of an unnerving rack. What it does is once the probe gets into the main for optics, he's not going to be able to prevent it from making it into the main base, but he's going to see that there's no barracks up, no barracks part of the wall off. And when he sees that, he's going to assume, rightly so, that the barracks is probably significantly closer to his base and feel like there's going to be pressure coming in, especially that one rack's tech lab pressure is not uncommon, and it's also very effective. So it might trick Quix into building more units than he wants to at this time, cutting specific production, maybe even stopping him from taking a fast expansion. And with the orbital command being warped in, Quix definitely knows that a barracks is on the field, and it's not like some sort of super greedy economic build. But once he comes back down and sees that that first Marine is out, he'll probably, rightly so, assume that the barracks is very close by, and he might even scout behind the mineral patch if it survives long enough. Also, interesting to note is that Optics has not grabbed any gas yet. Quix has grabbed that perfectly standard one gas to get the Cybernetics core up and started on the warp gate research. First Zealot is out, so it looks like a one gate fast expand. Money is beginning to rise for Quix. He's going to get that first expansion count. Optics has another SCV in position, but it's too late for fast barracks pressure or anything like that. Really, this guy is just hanging out until he can push back in and see what other unit structures have been created by Quix. He really wants to see what the next structure is. Will it be that expansion because that SCV bugged out before the expansion went down, or will there be some stargates going up, or even a couple of robos? Basically, he's just looking for that cheese. It will succeed in sneaking in the Stalker just now getting started, and the Zealot is out of position to deny. But he's going to come in and see absolutely nothing. There's nothing new being built. They saw the Nexus, but you can assume that that Nexus is there. In reality, he doesn't know what tech path Quix is going to be following down, and just seeing the other gas. Speaking of two gas, we can see two gas being built by Optics, and another barracks going down. Oh wow, three barracks. The third one down, of course, underneath the mineral line. He's got that bunker on the low ground, totally standard for the time being. That the three racks might be something to keep an eye on later. It could be that he's going on a ground build, but in reality, 3 barracks can be used to support pretty much any build. One gate into Robo out of Quix. He waited to build that Robo until after the SCV was done and dead, so that Optics doesn't really know what tech path Quix is following down, getting the other 2 gateways, I'm sure, once the money has become available. Also getting those sentries out. The first sentry just now popping. I'm sure a couple more will be built soon. Sentries are so important, especially in the early game against a ground-based Terran, because the force fields are so imperative whenever you have to deal with these huge numbers of Marines and Marauders. They can be very intimidating in one big number, so you cut them in half, deal with that, and then you can usually push back Optics back home once half of his units are done and gone. But those sentries are even more effective whenever they've been out for a while and have taken the opportunity to absorb some energy and prepare for multiple force fields. 2 tech labs built on these 2 barracks, working on 2 different upgrades, combat stim and combat shields and stim, tells me this is probably going to be a more heavy bio play. No gas been grabbed down in the lower expansion, so it doesn't appear that OpTiK is going to be teching any higher than that. Getting that engineering bay out. Speaking of teching higher though, Quix, we're working on that robotics bay, making some colossi, which would be very helpful against the mid-game, late-game Terran bio ball. Once these Marines reach a critical number, 1 and 2 shots from the colossi can really cut down their numbers very quickly, and so Colossus is going to be a very good choice of tech for Quix. As long as he's got enough time to get them out, OpTiK is beginning to position like he wants to put some aggression out on the field. He's got 11 Marines preparing to push, and there's not much at home for Quix to defend with. That Immortal has just now been started. OpTiK isn't right on top of his front door, but with another large swell of Marauders, it looks like he's going to be there very shortly. The Observer is not positioned to scout that unit composition coming in from the south side through the 3rd, but this Observer is, and he's going to see this bundle of joy and this bundle of joy. So Quix has got to know that he wants to get up more units. He's got those 3 sentries up. Several of them have over 100 energy, so that's going to be a lot of force fields to defend against this push, and that Immortal arrives just in time. Another one coming out. I think Quix is going to be okay. It's really going to come down to how good the force fields are. You can see both units splitting up. Nice force fields right there. He needs another one to cut him off. Oh, but he doesn't. Comes just a little bit too late, and all of OpTiK's armies begins to push in. Some good micro out of Quix, pulling back that Immortal before it can actually go down, allowing the Zealots to go to work, even though that's what OpTiK really wanted to pick off, was that Immortal, and he did quite a lot of damage to it. Couldn't steal the deal because of some really nice micro by Quix and a very skillful force field to hold them. Another Immortal joins in. I think 1 sentry did go down, and he had to warp in another one, but all of these are out of energy. It looks like OpTiK is going to be pushing again. 1 or 2 of them will have absorbed enough energy to throw down a force field in a couple of seconds, but not until after this fight is done. But with that other Immortal on the field, it looks like OpTiK is going to have to retreat. The Colossus will be done in just a couple of seconds. Two forges being built also, and quite a lot of gas has been saved up by Quix, so it looks like he's going to be playing for the late game, playing for the fight that's going to happen in 10 minutes from now, rather than the fight that's happening right now, getting that 1-1 underway, as well as the extended thermal lances for the Colossi. Oh, back at home, OpTiK has got his infrastructure really up and booming. He's got 5 barracks total, 3 of which who have tech labs, and another one with the reactor. A reactor also on the starport, double dealing the medevacs out to just support this ground-based play. Hopefully we can see those medevacs used for some harassment, because as Quix takes his 3rd, he's going to be spreading his army thinner and thinner. And remember, I said that this 3rd is actually kind of exposed. You've got a pathway in from the north, from the south, and also over kind of to the west, where you have the destructible debris leading into the common ground. But it's multiple pathways that Quix is going to have to defend against, and these ramps are so huge they require 3 force fields to block them off, and he doesn't have that many sentries. Just 2. Factory being used to scout the high ground, so that this ramp's not going to be as useful to Quix as he wants it to, but the 1-1 will be finished in just a couple seconds, and another Colossi will be joining the field. Huge ball of Terran bio coming down into the 4th area for Quix. And OpTiK's army will, be positioning like it really wants to do some damage there. If Quix can hold this, if he can keep his 3rd up, even though OpTiK is grabbing his own 3rd, little Zealot poking in at the 3rd, right as this 3rd goes up, that Zealot's probably going to do quite a lot of damage there, as the entire army is out of position, up to 2 kills already. It looks like Quix is kind of carting his army one way and then another, catching just a couple of units out of position. OpTiK is actually neck and neck supply-wise. 2-2 being started, 1-1 being finishing for OpTiK. He's got the level 2 weapons. Oh, a big push from OpTiK. Better force fields this time, splitting the units in half. Needs another one right on the center, but it looks like OpTiK is actually content to let his units stay bundled there. Actually, a pretty bad loss for OpTiK. He has to pull back units lost tab, just showing you how much of a difference that was. And also the aggression out of that Zealot ended up killing 10 of those workers. So that's a big win for Quix in 2 different areas, one for the economy and one on the army front. He's actually bought himself quite a lot of time to get more of those upgrades up. That 2-2 will finish long before the 2-2 for Terran, because I believe he's chrono boosting them. He's not. That's alright. He's probably spending that on more stuff, actually quite a lot of energy on that Nexus, and he's got the 3rd too, so a lot of energy to spend. I wonder what he's going to be spending it on. Psionic Storm is another excellent choice for AoE damage. Little poke from OpTiK, but he does not have the units necessary to take out this ground force, especially one with 3 Colossus backing it. OpTiK is going to get pushed back all the way. And a little stem right here from 5 bio units from the Marines making their way into the 3rd. Going to be doing quite a lot of damage, actually, taking out a lot of units. And Quix has his army right here, and it can react. Oh no, a Colossus completely caught off guard, and those stemmed Marauders quickly dealing a death blow to it. Actually, Harvester count neck and neck, even though Protoss is supposed to be up on their probe count over Terran. Economically speaking, you know, OpTiK is in substantially more of a lead. It looks like Quix is going to be countering with 2 Zealots and a High Templar. I guess morphing another High Templar, getting an Archon there. That's going to be very good. Storm just now finishing, so he might use those High Templars to storm first. But this pylon placement's actually really good. He's got him positioned at pretty much every expansion, so that he can do that aggression, sending out Zealots in multiple areas. OpTiK is pushing again, trying to take over some semblance of map control, but Quix has a substantial army. He's got a bigger army. He doesn't have any anti-air, though. He's got a handful of Stalkers, relying on that single Archon, I guess, to take out the Vikings, but those Vikings are going to have a heyday with the Colossus, which is really the damage-dealing unit that you have to be aware of. OpTiK can't seal the deal, but with these Vikings, he might be able to snipe 1 or 2 of those Colossus, because again, the anti-air is severely lacking. Quix finds his way up into the 3rd, begins to rain down fire. Some Stalkers reinforcing with their anti-air, taking down a couple of those Vikings. Have to be very careful. One of the Colossus does go down. The Zealots are engaging the SCVs on the right side in the 3rd. Instead of actually engaging the army, another Colossus falls, and then the 3rd. All the Colossus have all of a sudden gone down. That's a pretty big loss for Quix. He needed to keep those up, needs to keep them cost effective. At the same time, it looks like OpTiK is stabilized. His saturation is shot to hell at his 3rd, and you can check out the units workers killed tab. The harassment out of both players has been pretty hardcore, sending in a couple more Zealots from Quix up into the natural. Kind of ballsy. OpTiK's reinforcements have to walk right by these Zealots. As long as OpTiK stays self-aware, he's going to cut down this harassment pretty quickly. It looks like he's actually moving over his entire force. The Zealots have done just a little bit of damage, maybe paid for themselves, maybe not, but it's harassment like that which will buy time for Quix to get his Colossus count back up to a more favorable count. He's got 1 on the way. He's already got 1 out. He's also got 6 High Templar. Oh, wow. Oh, and there's 8 Ghosts out on the field, too. I guess the transition from OpTiK has been over to Ghosts. Their EMP is going to be very helpful and useful in the later game. We're actually at the 20-minute mark right now, so it looks like we're moving into that late game right now. 170 over 140 supply, though. Quix is heavily in the lead, sending in a couple more Zealots to do some more harassment as OpTiK gets his units out of position a little bit to snipe the pesky pylons that are located so close to his 3rd. Zealot's really doing a number on the worker count. Still in the favor of OpTiK just because of his harassment from those Marines and Marauders, but the Zealots are beginning to get Quix back in the game, at least for the Harvester count. He's definitely in the game. 180 over 150 is heavily in the lead. And with a Dark Shrine on the way, we can only expect to see that probe count, the SCV count, differ even greater. Oh, a lot of Ghosts, though. That's going to be very helpful as OpTiK moves in to take the 3rd. Quix is there, aware of that unit composition. He's got quite a lot of stormed High Templars ready to storm this bio ball if it gets overextended. if it overextends itself. And also you got to be aware that those feedbacks can be spent on the ghosts who have twice as much energy as they do have health, so that can be very, very effective. Actually sending up a High Templar. He probably saw those. Oh, he's got an observer right there. Here comes the feedback. Oh, just a little bit too far away. Some nice he did get it. He did feedback one of the ghosts, but the snipes from the ghosts were very effective at dealing them up. Another High Templar coming in for a feedback. Again, OpTiK's just showing some grade A APM to snipe those guys down. Totally aware of them. And it looks like Quix is just content to sacrifice one at a time, because that's only 50 energy for the feedback, and you can actually do 2 or 3 of them at a time. And High Templar is not the most cheap units in the world. A couple of stemmed Marauders actually taking care of some of the pylons on the high ground. Got to be careful. Really back and forth. 1, 2, 3 feedbacks right there from the. I agree, Epitomus. I agree. That was pretty significant loss right there. Oh, and the other 2 ghosts fall too. I think that's all the ghosts. That is all the ghosts. So no ghosts out on the field. Quix is at 200 over 200 and 167 supply for OpTiKs. The Marauders have found their way into the natural, but have run into some zealots rather than some probes. So bit off a bit more than they wanted to chew. However, 4th has gone down for OpTiKs. He hasn't succeeded in taking that. He's trying to take it up in the top left corner instead, but it looks like a Dark Templar is denying that. He's probably taken out, how many kills does he have? Just the one on the SCV probably that was building it. But he's denying that from landing, denying that from harvesting, and all of a sudden the mineral count is like really, really small. The natural is pretty much mined out, the main is completely mined out, and Quix is in a commanding lead, and he can just afford to constantly tech in different directions and sit back and relax. Doesn't really want to give OpTiKs enough time to re-macro up to a full-on just death ball. He needs to keep the ghost count especially down. There's 4 out on the field again, and so it looks like Quix is actually gearing up for a fight. Yeah, this is basically the part where OpTiKs has to defend. He has to defend this 4th above all else. He needs to keep it mining. So his army is basically going to be tethered between the 3rd and the 4th, and it looks like 2 different directions. Zealots in one, off into the natural, and everything that has gas leading up into the 3rd, splitting OpTiK Zero's force in half too. It looks like those zealots are incredibly effective at dealing damage to the bio units, but with just a planetary there, a couple force fields to prevent against the repair. Oh, the Colossus are caught a little bit offside. All those Vikings, these Vikings are going to be absolutely huge. An excellent storm from Quix down on the low ground, dealing quite a lot of damage to the bio units. At the same time, the Zealots continue to wreak havoc. There is no reinforcements coming in for OpTiKs, and Quix remains at 200 over 200. Good EMP on one of the High Templars that really wanted to feed back those Zealots, those ghosts. Ghosts going down again. Excellent AoE from the Colossi. They're still alive despite the Vikings. Oh, massive storms. Wow, look at those storms. And the units lost tab shows you it all. I mean, that thing wasn't neck and neck. It was actually favoring Quix for the entire game, but it was close. And then all of a sudden, over twice as much. The economy was in shambles because the 3rd did go down, and the 4th went down. The 3rd was barely. It was mining. I mean, it was fully saturated actually, but the natural went down, who was barely mining before, and the main was absolutely ravaged by all these zealots just having a heyday. I think OpTiKs could have won this if he doubled down on the harassment, especially some drops. There were so many different bases for Quix, and that bio ball is not the most mobile thing in the world. It's very slow to react, and he did a great job sending small bundles of units into the probe line, but in the end it just wasn't enough to keep Quix contained, and once Quix moved out, that was basically all she wrote. Hey, that was a great game for me to watch. I hope it was a great game for you guys to watch. If you have a comment, you can leave me a comment. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Ibigandscary. Bye.